right, Danny Dwyer. Last Saturday, you fulfilled a lifelong dream, stepping out onto the stage of the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee, as a guest announcer.
Yeah.
Tell me about that moment when you stepped out on the stage. What were your emotions?
My knees buckled. It was a spiritual experience, like unbelievable. It's like winning the Super Bowl. You know, you finally get that opportunity to go grab that trophy. That was it for me, seeing that circle. I actually didn't even stand in the circle because I am not worthy, like an artist of Vince Gill and Ashley McBride and all the other people, Brooks and Dunn, Rascal Flatts. I mean, the names go, T. Graham Brown, so many more. But I did touch it, I kissed it, and it was a spiritual moment. Like I said, I got goosebumps literally from my fingertips to my toes. It was incredible, something I will cherish for the rest of my life. What a moment to be able to stand on that stage and the history of country music and the people that have graced that circle. It's cool.
Tell me, how did a country music DJ from Portland, Oregon end up on the stage at the Grand Ole Opry?
It's taken 30 years to get there. All of my travels through radio, starting out as a young kid in high school to today, now working for 99.5 The Wolf. Absolutely incredible. It's a special this year because it's the Opry 100, and they're expecting guests from fans all over the world. You can sign up to be a guest MC, and of course they are picking and pulling different radio DJs from around the country, and I was fortunate to be one of them to get that opportunity. So I felt like I won the Super Bowl. Yeah.
You're an ACM winner, you're a CMA winner, you've won various awards through CRS and a bunch of different organizations. You spent a lot of time in Nashville. What did going to Nashville this time, though, mean to you?
This one was a little different because I took my kids with me. The family all went. My wife and I have been there many times. But for my daughter to see the Country Music Hall of Fame as an Elvis fan, like her eyes lit up. So for me as a parent, there's nothing better than watching your kids enjoy something that just brings life to them. My kids have grown up around country music, so they know the history, they know the story of it. So when they get to experience it for the very first time, it was truly remarkable for me as a parent. My son Tanner was in awe of the Smokey and the Bandit car that sat in the middle of the lobby right there at the Country Hall of Fame. There's just so much history in that town. They've heard about it, but they finally got to see it and touch it the way they wanted to.
There are a lot of things in the country music world that people talk about that are spiritual, and like you talked about getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
One of those things is anybody can go to the Grand Ole Opry, but
sure,
only a select few get to walk through what's known as the artist entrance.
Yes.
Hosts, musicians, label people.
Yeah.
It's one of those exclusive doors that you got to walk through. What was that like?
Getting goosebumps again talking about it. It was one of those moments you just breathe in so you don't pass out, because when you do see it, you realize all the history of the people that have walked through those doors. And it was remarkable. And when it was almost like a time warp. Like you see it, you walk through it, and when you go past that entrance, it just goes to a different level. Because walking into the Country Music Hall of Fame and the history, and with everybody that's a part of it, from Hee Haw days, Roy Acuff, Minnie Pearl, all those people that made that Grand Ole Opry so special, you knew what it was like. And when you walk in the hallways and you see all the names of the people that are part of the Opry, it was just something, like I said, it's like a time warp. It's spiritual. It's just one of those moments that I'll relish forever. Yeah.
If you don't understand country music, and you don't understand, I would even say music in general, there's so much history in Nashville, and you and I have walked this walk. We've done this thing.
Yep.
When you walk between the Ryman Auditorium and those bars on Lower Broadway,
yes,
it might be just an alley to somebody.
Right.
But to those of us that work in the industry and have a respect for the music, what does that tell you about the city of Nashville?
Man, there is so much history in that alleyway alone. That's where George Jones got the nickname No Show Jones, because literally he would get a drink at Tootsie's and then another drink, and he's supposed to be on stage, which was literally 40 footsteps away to the backstage of the Ryman, and he wouldn't show up. But they'd have to go next door to Tootsie's to go get him, to bring him on stage to sing for everybody that waited outside in snowstorms and hot sunny nights to be in Nashville. So yeah, that alleyway with Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard and all those people, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, walking those hallways and stepping up those steps, you can actually see them. You get your picture right there. But you're right, there's so much history in that town. And back in the day, when there was only 4 bars, in that town. Unlike today when there's 200, it's a different story, but there's so much history. Just knowing that you stepped probably on the same step as Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins and so many others. It's incredible.
What is one thing that you will take away from your experience last Saturday that you didn't expect to do?
Seeing Vince Gill just walk in like a normal human being. Most people don't know this, but as the Grand Ole Opry, as a member, you are required to go back a certain amount of times as a member. Vince goes back, seems like weekly, because if he doesn't have a TV show or he's not touring with the Eagles, then he's going to be at the Grand Ole Opry shaking hands and meeting people. He's now located in Opry House number 1, which is Roy Acuff's dressing room. And Roy Acuff told him a special, I love this story, said he never shut his doors because everybody that came to the Grand Ole Opry was known as a family member. If it was backstage, you were treated like family. They always signed autographs. So that moment of my kids getting to meet Vince Gill, one of the greatest performers in country music history, was it.
What dressing room were you in?
I was in dressing room number 6. It was awesome. It had a great piano in there, and each dressing room is really different because a lot of the musicians, when they get there, they want to warm up. They want to do their jam sessions. They just want to have a great time. So it was really special. I got to sit on this really custom, cool amp that was in there. I sat down and played the piano for a little bit. I did my best version of playing piano. But each dressing room is different. Like Roy Acuff had his. There was one for Minnie Pearl. There's one for the women of country music, which featured Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, Tammy Wynette. To see the pictures on the wall is truly incredible, and all the people that have been in those rooms.
One of the cool things about the Opry is even people that just buy general admission can win an opportunity to go backstage for the after party. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. In fact, one of my mentors introduced me. His name is Mike Terry. He does a show on weekends on Sirius Radio called Prime Country. Super great guy. They gave a QR code for everybody that after the show they can go and watch. And the thing at the Opry is during showtime, it's pandemonium, but it's not crazy backstage because there are so many artists. Friday night I was there for a run through, so it was suddenly an appearance by Kix Brooks, who just showed up with his wife to hang out and just shake hands with people. T. Graham Brown was there Saturday. Vince Gill was there Saturday. Martina McBride. Everyone just shaking hands. But for the artist afterwards, some of them hung out to meet some of the people that didn't get a chance to see what it was like. So seeing that in other people's eyes, getting a chance to just go backstage and touch the circle, it's pretty cool.
All right, I'm going to play for you real quick, just the intro. I don't know if you've heard this or not.
Okay.
But I did record this.
Okay.
And I want to play for you, and I just want to get your reaction to what you hear.
Okay.
From Mike Terry.
At 9:30, you can get your tickets now online at Opry100.com. Now, how would you like to stand in that circle tonight? We can make that happen. If you will scan the QR code that is on the screen, you can get tickets to join us for a post-show tour.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see the backstage area, the artist entrance, all of the themed dressing rooms, and you will stand in that circle. One of you is about to win tickets for our post-show tour tonight.
And I thought this was cool how we did this.
Yeah.
It's stand for later, but we already have a pair ready to go. And I'll pause this real quick and we'll get into your intro here with Mike Terry. But as somebody that's promotionally minded and understands that the country world revolves around its fans, how impressive was it to see the Opry engage their fans?
Oh, it was incredible. That's one of the things, like, for years, the Opry's been world famous. Opry Saturday Night, with all the shows from the early 1900s, I think 1939, till currently to today, you know? So those people know what they're going to expect when they go to the Grand Ole Opry. It's a moment. Like, that's one of the best things you can do to go to Nashville. When you do take that trip to Music City, there's 3 things you have to do. You have to visit the Country Music Hall of Fame. You have to go to the Ryman Auditorium for the tour, and you have to go to the Grand Ole Opry. Now, sometimes the Grand Ole Opry is at the Ryman Auditorium. A couple months out of the year, they go there, so you get the opportunity to sit in the pews that have been there since 1929, I think it was, as originally as a church. That's why it's called the Mother Church of Country Music. So to see those fans like get that opportunity, they just light up like that could be me. I could potentially be standing right there like their favorite artist, whoever it might be, Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, Lainey Wilson, Rascal Flatts, Darius Rucker, Scotty McCreery. It's incredible. Incredible.
All right, let's get to your introduction.
Okay.
And I thought this was really poignant because I thought Mike did a great job.
Congratulations, you're coming
Fast forward just a
to
little bit.
host. He's a two-time ACM and CMA broadcast nominee. He is the winner of the Country Radio Broadcasters Major Market Personality of the Year Award
And Goosebumps.
Music Director of the Year Award as well. And he is here tonight from 99.5 The Wolf in Portland, Oregon. Ladies and gentlemen, please make him feel welcome, Danny Dwyer.
Yeah. Oh, man, my legs. Yeah.
So, you said Mike Terry, is a mentor of yours.
Yes.
You've looked up to.
Yeah.
Tell me what's running through your head as you're listening to this.
First of all, I'm like, okay, this is Mike saying my name when it should be me talking about Mike Terry. So I paid it back to him as I should, because he deserves it. I don't know if most people know that was the Mike Terry for Sirius XM and Prime Country. And he also does a couple of other channels for them as well. But at that moment when they said, please welcome from 99.5 The Wolf in Portland, Oregon, Danny Dwyer, I paused for a second to look up to see what I could see from the seats of the Grand Ole Opry. I couldn't see much except for the first couple of rows because lights were down and it was dark. But I was like, okay, this is the moment. Don't cry. Step forward. Don't fall down. Don't trip. And whatever you do, don't forget to thank your family and your wife. That was the most important thing. And the fans, because the fans are what put us where we are. It's all about community. We do great things in radio for our communities. We love to touch people. We love to kiss babies. That's what it's been for me for the last 30 years of my career at radio. So it's been, at that moment, it was an absolute honor, and I just wanted to do the Opry proud.
You've done radio, you've done TV, you've done pretty much everything in the media landscape.
Yeah.
How nervous were you holding that card and going through your notes and delivering that speech?
I'm glad I had a podium to put I actually held an iPad because I don't think I would have held it. I would have been shaking so bad. But I put it in, the way I could read it comfortably. I felt like I read a little too fast, but you only get 5 minutes. So you got to get in what you got to get in. And I told the history of my grandparents raising me on country music with Hank Williams and Patsy Cline and Elvis. I told the story of my parents raising me on country music, so now instilling it into my kids with Luke Combs and Rascal Flatts. It was awesome. But yeah, there was a moment I was really nervous. Like I had to hold on to the podium to make sure that it wasn't going anywhere.
There's a great photo that our friend John Courier shot of you where you have your hands kind of out extended over the podium. You thanked your wife, you thanked your kids. Tell me about the artist introduction. Because, you and I have done a lot of those over our different days on radio.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Because obviously, it's almost second nature to us, right?
Right.
We get a script, hey, name, label, thank you, here they are. But what's it like doing that at the Opry?
It was different, and the good news was the Opry gives you the opportunity, like who would you like to see, who would you like to invite to the Opry to be your guest, or who you would want to introduce. And I gave a list. Unfortunately, they were all on tour. I didn't really put that in the back of my mind, so I couldn't get those people. But the kid that I did introduce, Payton Smith, an amazing guitarist. The unfortunate thing is, in 2020, when he really got signed from his label, 2020 happened. The world shut down. He didn't really get to do much of anything. So he went back home, got married, had kids, and just became a dad. But continued to write songs, continued to play. So when they said, do you want to introduce, who would it be? I said, Payton Smith. I've known him, I know his history, and I know what this guy can do on a guitar. So I knew his album was dropping. I knew a little bit about him, so it kind of gave me a benefit a little bit. But what people didn't realize is how good he is on guitar. He is literally one of the top 5 guitarists next to Keith Urban and Brad Paisley, Vince Gill. Ben Gallagher is another guy. But introducing Payton Smith, even he came to me afterwards and was basically like, that was the greatest introduction I've ever had in radio, ever. So I wanted to, I wanted to make the Opry proud. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Let me ask you about another artist back here close at home, Tucker Wetmore.
Yeah.
Has absolutely exploded in the last 2 years.
Kalamo Boy.
Oh, yeah. Nominated for CMA New Artist of the Year. Really kind of landed on everybody's Radar getting a track on the Twisters 2 soundtrack, and obviously we've known him a little bit, longer than that. But what has he meant to country music in the Northwest?
Well, him being a local boy is a phenomenal thing, really. There's 2 artists that have really taken off, and now a third is coming. We're talking about Zach Top and Tucker Wetmore. Boy, they collided at the same time, making the Northwest proud. And now there's a lady by the name of Jackie Rohr that's coming in as well. But for Tucker, it's just cool to watch his path. I mean, how much closer can he get to than Kalama, Washington? A little tiny town, played football, decided he didn't like football, he wanted to just get into music, and now look at him. It's like the perfect timing for the guy. It's like you said, from the movie Twister, he got in that tornado and went straight to the top. And that's what's happening with him right now. It's incredible. I want to see him. I'm looking forward to seeing him this coming Friday night when he comes back to town. And I can't wait to talk to him because now, last time I saw him, is if he could just give me some details like of his favorite restaurant, where it was. A couple local restaurants in town in Kalama. So he's like, oh, I love the Burger Bar, and I love going over to McMinimum's, and I like to just hang on the water. I was trying to get some favorite fishing spots from him, but he wouldn't give those up. But but seeing him as a new country artist on the rise with Zach Top, 2 local guys from the area doing really well, it's really cool to see that and enjoy that ride with them.
Right, and a lot of people might say you're a long way from Nashville, but the Northwest has a history of putting out some top talent, not just singers, but also songwriters and people involved in the industry. How big is the country music world in the Pacific Northwest?
It's pretty big. For a while there was kind of a little lull moment. We've always had those artists. Like I said, Jackie Rohr, she was on The Voice, number 3, right? She was with Team Reba, taking off. The girl is everywhere now. She was in Nashville Friday night when I was there for my run-through. So it was really cool. There's Joni Harms from Canby. She is an award-winning country music artist. Her daughter, Olivia Harms, is going to be on this new TV show with Blake Shelton and Gretchen Wilson and Keith Urban called The Road. We have a local girl, Brittany Kellogg, is also on that show. A couple local people. So it's going to be really cool, and I see the talent that comes from right here in the Pacific Northwest. There's Jessie G, who we met years ago at Duke's. I introduced her to Gretchen Wilson. They became friends. Next thing you know, she's opening for Gretchen. Now she's got a record deal. There's a girl named Jessie Lee, Kurt Van Meter. There's all these new artists that are coming up, and they're taking off. It's cool.
Yeah, you got Adam Craig, also from Washington State.
Yeah.
Mega songwriter, has had cuts from Jake Owen to George Strait.
Yes.
Had even a band there. Our friend Ben Rue.
Yeah.
Down in Silverton, and then it's really cool to see the Pacific Northwest really have kind of that influence.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's not that we forget about them, but when they become a songwriter more than anything, you don't hear as much of them like you do with a Tucker right now, right? Being so popular, having that song. But the songwriters are the ones that make country music. When you find out all those songs that they write, that's when you're like, wow, I had no idea. So yeah, congratulations to them, because for me, I love songwriters.
All right, just tell me a little bit about you. Obviously, you are now at 99.5 The Wolf.
Yep.
You were at the Crosstown station for a very long time.
Yes.
Just walk me through your kind of last year.
Man, it's been a roller coaster ride for the last year. It's been crazy. The company that I was with was bought out, so they made some changes, which was fine. I had spent 27 years on the air there, here in the Rose City, one of the longest radio tenures in the area, next to my friend Lars Larson and my buddy Terry Boyd over at KGON. So it was really cool. So I've had the summer off. I've had a chance to reflect and kind of think about things and what my future might hold. What is my career going to continue to do? So I'm always searching. I'm never ending. I'm still young at heart. I'm going to fight for whatever I can, and whatever it takes to do to make people smile and make people have a better day, because we're living in a very treacherous time, right? I mean, it's just weird. We never know what's going to happen each day. So if I can bring a little sunshine to people to make them smile and feel a little bit better, that's great. And then jumping over to the Wolf Pack and joining that whole family from 99.5 The Wolf is going to be awesome. I brought a lot of friends and family over. They've made the switch. So if you want to make the switch, you know where to go and find me.
And when will we be able to hear you on there?
I'll be on Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 3. And then coming up in October, we're going to start a new thing called Nashlandia with Nick and Kristen in the morning. So I'll be bringing stories from Nashville, some of my artist friends that I've known, talking about new music coming out, or if they just expecting a baby. We're going to find out all the details, kind of like the gossip and the dirt in Nashville. We're going to bring it back home, and we'll spend some time with Nick and Kristen for 30 seconds, maybe a minute or two with them, talking about the cool things going on. And if there's a big concert coming to town, you're going to hear about it first with us at 99.5 The Wolf.